This is Howard Goldstein, and this is my story.
This man went from 25 years of drug dealing and addiction, almost dying, to finding God, getting miraculously cured of I don't know, sis. And he ultimately finds a peace of mind beyond understanding so he can finally do what he loves.
I do sound mostly for Christian events, and I get to work with unbelievable artists. I'm not going to name drop, but I've worked with award-winning national artists, service to the body of Christ. I just have fun doing it. Support of different ministries that are important to me, that I care about, that I love.
And while I've personally spent years trying to find peace of mind, he got it in a way you probably wouldn't expect. Make sure to leave a like, get naked, and let's hop into this.
Spread the happy. Tell your story. Part 1.
Howard Goldstein is a jolly 64-year-old bass-playing, fish-catching, sound designing man of God doing his thing. He enjoys his job, his wife, and his life, but sometimes he feels a bit off.
I'm a bass player and I have fun doing it when it works well. And when it's not working well, I don't have fun doing it. I kind of get irritated sometimes.
Some would say he has a bit of a temper, but this is actually some pretty labor-intensive stuff, no matter who you are.
You put the stuff in the trailer, you carry it to wherever you are. Oftentimes, it's not the same place twice. You look at the situation, you go in, you set up.
And the whole process of setting up a sound studio to the client's liking can take up to 8 hours.
Sometimes people find it challenging to work with me because I can be a little intense. You probably don't know much about that, but
it was definitely something I had seen before, and as I was interviewing Howard, I came to realize that there was a reason for that.
I wasn't getting the oxygen to my brain that I needed, so sometimes I'd experience confusion. Physically there, but mentally absent.
So he's a busy guy, but that doesn't automatically mean that you can't get oxygen to your brain. So why is he struggling? Well, that might have something to do with the fact that he had a very active early adult life.
Growing up, I was very active in addiction for 25 years. 25 years as an addict, 23 years as a drug dealer.
Oh, I was thinking more action like wrestling or foot.
Multiple dope houses and selling drugs all through my life, but multiple dope houses when I moved to Valdosta, Georgia in 1980. The night before my 30th birthday, I overdosed, and within a year, the man that I was with was murdered for being unable to pay his drug bill.
Well, dang.
So having lost his friend and almost dying himself, one way or another, he needed to get off drugs. Which begs the question, how does someone permanently break a 23-year-long addiction? At this point, God seems pretty promising. So like many people, he went straight to church.
Was not very smart about church stuff. I was born and raised Jewish. Went and visited a church and filled out a visitor's card. The pastor came to my house on Tuesday night. I'm putting in Visine and spraying Lysol and using scope and mouthwash and aftershave, trying not to smell like weed. And I told him, I can't get saved. I'm a drug dealer and living with this girl. He shared the gospel and he explained to me that I don't get ready for God or get cleaned up for God, that God does the cleaning up. I accepted Christ that night, and I'll tell you right now, the next 10 years were not a bed of roses. I went through some of the worst stuff that I ever went through in my life after I accepted Christ.
Well, dang.
Well, that doesn't sound very promising. What, you thought that he got saved and that automatically fixed his drug addiction? That's what I was hoping. Let's ask life coach Dub G, who's also my dad, and a good friend of Howard's. Except for he doesn't know that I'm making this video. So this is his best possible answer with no context. Excuse me, sir. When you get saved, do you automatically fix all your addictions, like immediately?
That's the question.
Yes.
No, of course not.
There you have it, folks. Thank you very much for your time. If you also want one-on-one life coaching from mi padre, then go to the link in the description.
After I accepted Christ, I went through some really tough times.
Alright, all jokes aside, when I was interviewing Howard, I was really waiting for that big, obvious, God definitely did that moment. So what really happened after he got saved? Well, over the course of a decade, he went from church to church, looking for fellowship and guidance, trying to get off drugs as best as he could, until finally, one day, he failed. He ended up joining...
Wait, what do you mean, and then finally one day he failed? So you're saying that none of the churches actually helped him?
Not entirely. He ended up joining the Narcotics Anonymous program, sorry Howard, and he successfully broke his drug addiction in 1992. Now he's 29 years sober, even from many of his prescription medical drugs. Yay!
And God's been so good to me. I've been clean and sober now for 28 years and about 8 months.
So where's the miraculous part? You know, the part that we need to capture and put into video?
We're getting to that. We may have to break this video into 2 parts for the algorithm, but still. He may have been on drugs, but that still doesn't explain his recent brain oxygen issue. You see, Howard was going through something I like to call addiction transfer. Essentially, it's when you replace an old addiction with a new one. And I thought I made this up, but apparently that's a real thing. Now, in some cases, this can be healthy. One might substitute an ice cream addiction for an energy bar addiction. Sorry, I couldn't come up with anything better than that. But in Howard's case, he substituted drugs for food. A lot of it. And not the healthy kind. Non-stop. For the next 28 years. And that led to him ending up with the worst ever disease you could possibly be diagnosed with.
I don't know, sis.
Part 2.
The way that I got involved in the path trying to figure out my health problems, I think was pretty unusual.
After he got off drugs, for a short while, he was able to live a full life. Get married, find a career, even joining a new church called Grace Point where he volunteers to do sound design. For a while, he had peace. That is, until the ticking time bomb started to wane down. He started feeling weaker than usual, running out of breath.
I had to sit down and take a break and catch my breath.
So he went to the doctors. And soon, one of them in particular was able to find out the problem just by feeling his arm.
If I say that she's a massage therapist, she gets mad. I was having problems with really bad inflammation and really constant pain in my arm. This person was doing a lot of stuff and trying to help me and figure it out. And she felt like I had inflammation around my heart. At rest, my heart did good, but under strain, when it pumped, it didn't shoot out enough blood. So I'm really eternally grateful to Mary.
When Howard got those news, that feeling of peace, whatever was left of it, turned into complete panic. Once your heart stops pumping blood properly, you don't just go on a quick diet to fix the issue. If he overexerted himself one time, ever, he would have been done for. And that realization is a horrible feeling you can't just shake off. So he decided to go ask for help from the same people that he volunteered his services to.
Where I fellowship at Grace Point, there are people that are getting prayed for healing all the time. And frequently, I will not respond. At times, I probably should. I did in the beginning privately go to Pastor and ask him to pray for me. He certainly has been through heart issues and had surgeries and understood the anxiety that comes with that. He did pray for me, and that was early on. I would love to say that I felt something or saw something. I didn't, but by faith, I accepted that I was healed.
And now, with his faith in the right place, he could go back and let the doctors operate on him, and he wouldn't leave until he figured out exactly what was wrong with his heart. And apparently he sees an angelic appearance.
In my human mind, it's hard to interpret that data. Did I have a visitation from an angel?
We'll find out next time, when we
Spread the happy.